The trim command can be found on the ribbon, Home tab, Modify section, this top right button. Now you need intersecting objects to trim, and I'm using version 2022, and by default it has a different mode than some of the older versions, so I'm actually going to hit O for mode, or you can click, just to show you that there's quick and standard. So quick is a newer way of doing it. The older versions use what they're calling standard here, so I'm going to leave it in standard. If you're using 22, just switch it to standard. Might be easier. But the first object that you select, and you hit enter, that's going to be your cutting edge. So now I'm only going to be able to cut the other objects that are, coming across that object. I'm going to undo that. Now I'm going to go into the trim command again by doing TR, enter on the keyboard, TR on the keyboard for the shortcut. And it might just be faster just to select everything. And then hit enter or right click. And then you can see that you can cut, trim either object, because both are going to be cutting edges. And then another handy thing that you can do is use the window. So I'm going to go hit enter to go back into the command. And if I just select this as my cutting edge, and then enter, I can do a window and I can trim multiple things at once. There is a setting in AutoCAD that determines whether or not you can trim if something is overlapping or not. Let me explain. It's called edge mode. So if you type in edge mode, and if your edge mode is set to 1, so right now mine's set to 0 at the bottom here. If I hit 1, enter, this will actually allow me to trim an object. Let's say I want to trim this line. I want to shorten it to meet up to this point at that apparent intersection. Well, I can do that now because my edge mode is set to 1. I will select this as my cutting edge, or select both, it doesn't matter. Hit enter. I can cut to that. Now I'm going to undo that. If I turn my edge mode back to 0, now it will not work. It won't let me trim this because it's not actually overlapping that line. So edge mode is very handy if you're careful with it. Edge mode 1.